Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, on my channel, I'm always telling you guys, live an active lifestyle, make smart nutritional choices. And when we're talking about smart nutritional choices on this channel, I've talked to you guys many times about reading food labels. This is the first thing that you need to understand, the first thing you should be doing. If you really want to make a change in what you're eating, right, in your diet, so to speak, right, making a smart nutritional choice, you're never going to know if you're making a smart nutritional choice unless you're reading food labels, right? Now, yes, we all want to know what we should be looking for, right? But it has to start with something, and reading the food labels is the first thing you have to do. You have to read the food labels, all right? So remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you go out food shopping, whatever you do, think about reading food labels and think about comparing items. Comparing items, oftentimes, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to a shelf and you go to grab a specific item, there are other items, right? Similar items right next to each other, right? And there's different ingredients in these items. So I've told you guys before, example of the pickles example, right? Something as simple as pickles. You wouldn't believe that there's anything really in pickles. It's just pickles. But that's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. You could take one jar of pickles and you could look at the pickle jar and you have things like high fructose corn syrup in there. You have things like yellow number 5 or yellow 7, whatever the hell those things are. Yellow dyes, food dyes. They're putting these yellow food dyes in the pickles to make them yellow. Why do we need to do that? Why should we be consuming this yellow dye? I told you guys, these yellow dyes are no good. The reds, the blues, these things are no good, these yellows. So stay away from these things. But you'll look at another jar of pickles right next to it, and there won't be any high fructose corn syrup in there. There won't be any of these food dyes in there. So these are some of the things you want to think about when you're reading food labels, ladies and gentlemen. Same thing with ketchup. You could take one ketchup, read the label. Once again, one has high fructose corn syrup in it, the other one does not, right? One has a bunch of added sugar in it, the other one does not. So these are the kinds of things that you want to think about and you want to look for when you're reading food labels. These are just simple things, simple changes that you can make every single day. So when we talk about reading food labels, making smart nutritional choices, it's got to start with the food labels, ladies and gentlemen, right? Think about these things. Like I said, the added sugar should be the first thing that you should be looking for. I mean, think about bread. A lot of people don't realize there are all these different kinds of bread, and a lot of this bread has sugar in it. You may not think it does, but that's right, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of this bread has sugar in it. So if you start reading the food labels, you'll start to see that this bread has sugar in it. Other kinds of bread, they doesn't have the sugar in there. So these are the things you want to look for. Think about reading food labels, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important that you read your food labels. It has to start there. Like I said, and immediately you want to be thinking and looking for things like added sugar, even when things that you drink, iced teas and some of these juices that people drink every day, they don't really understand or realize that they're drinking a lot of sugar, right? It's not just the soda. A lot of these fruit juices or these iced teas have a lot of added sugar in it. So these are the kinds of things that we have to look for in these food labels. Added sugar. Try to avoid a lot of the added sugar, ladies and gentlemen. And once you start doing these things, you'll notice an immediate difference on how you feel, and you'll notice an immediate difference in how you look, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, the bread, the added sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, all these kinds of things will help you make a smart nutritional choice. Like I said, looking for food dyes in your foods, looking for things like sodium in there. These are the kinds of things you want to think about, ladies and gentlemen, right? A lot of people get wrapped up in the fat intake. Don't get too caught up in how much fat you're eating or, quote unquote, fat you have or eating in your diet. It's the added sugar. These are the kinds of things that we want to think about. The refined carbs, right? I told you guys about things like, cakes and cookies and bagels and the sugary cereals, pancakes, syrup. These are the kinds of things you want to avoid, ladies and gentlemen. If you avoid these kinds of things in your diet overall, trust me, you'll be making a huge difference. You'll see a huge difference and you'll feel a huge difference, especially with the way you feel as far as your energy goes. I've talked to you guys many times on this channel about the energy levels. A lot of people don't have energy. They're always telling me that they have lack of energy. They're always tired, right? They feel sluggish. They're just lazy, right? And that's why I always tell you guys to fight against that laziness. But it's hard to fight against the laziness when you're eating bad stuff, when you're putting bad things inside of you. So this is why reading food labels are very important, ladies and gentlemen. So think about reading the food labels and pay attention to the ingredient list, all the things that are in these things, and compare them to each other, ladies and gentlemen. It's really simple to take one item, right? Or take two items that are made by two different people, but it's the same thing, and read the ingredients and look at the food labels. Certain things will stand out. They'll jump out to you, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be a genius or a rocket scientist to read these labels or to understand certain things. Just look at two items, the same items, and read the labels. You'll see what I'm saying. You'll notice little things here and there, and you're like, why is this in here? right? Why are they dyeing your pickles yellow? You shouldn't need the yellow dyes in there, ladies and gentlemen. Pickles could be a healthy snack, but it's not healthy if you have high fructose corn syrup in there. It's not healthy if you're having this yellow dyes in there. You don't need this kind of nonsense, right? You want to have things with minimal amounts of ingredients, right? The least amount of ingredients that is possible, right? That means these things are way more healthy, right? When you go to the fruit aisle, right? And you pick up an apple. What's the ingredients of an apple? It's an apple. There is no ingredient list. It's the apple, ladies and gentlemen. There's no ingredients. But yet you'll have some people tell you that fruit has sugar in it, and to avoid sugar, avoid fruits. That doesn't make any sense. It literally makes no sense. The problem in this world is not people eating too much fruit. That's not the problem. And the sugar that comes from these fruit, once again, I've told you guys it goes in synergy with the other things that are in that fruit. So when you're eating the apple, you're also eating other vitamins and minerals that are in that apple. There's also fiber in the apple that helps with that sugar. When you're eating a bagel and you're talking about some of these refined carbs, you're thinking about these pancakes, the sugary cereals, the sodas, the fruit juices, and we're talking about added sugar and high fructose corn syrup. There's no other minerals or vitamins in this stuff. There's no fiber in this stuff. You're just eating all this sugar, all these carbs. There's no balance there. All right, so think about those kinds of things, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, think about minimal amounts of ingredients in your food, right? The more ingredients on that food label, the more things it takes to create that food, then the less healthy it is, ladies and gentlemen, right? And we all know this. The problem is we're lazy, right? And the problem is we just don't care. So you have to care. And the first thing you can do, to show that you're caring is read the food labels, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that.